Welcome back to Raised by Giants, Illuminated Insights, UFO Doomsday Cult Series Part 9, the Cult of Antrovis. We are live. Welcome everyone in the chat to the series that gives you the facts and the research behind some of the most highly regarded modern day belief systems around the community that come directly from these UFO cults, with theories and beliefs of extraterrestrials landing and saving humanity into the world, predictions that never come true, Luciferians, evil extraterrestrials messing with humanity, supposed advanced technology like time travel, channeling, telepathy, psychic communication, and cloning, and the coming of a new age into the next evolutionary level above human, the Great White Brotherhood of Light, New Age extraterrestrial raptures, along with many claiming to be reincarnations of famous historical figures. If you haven't checked out episodes 1 through 8, I highly recommend it. There's a playlist on the channel with all the episodes in order. And if you research these cults, you'll realize, if you've watched all the videos, all of these belief systems and theories come from these UFO cults, and ideologies have just been regurgitated and are very prominent in the community today. How's everyone in the chat? How's it going, Scotty boy? Good to see you. Sam, Fireflies, how's it hanging? Thanks for being here, everyone. So last week we covered the cult of I Am, which was the earliest UFO cult in the United States, which was the original Ascended Master Teachings religious movement founded in the early 30s by Guy Ballard and his wife here, Edna Ballard, in Chicago, Illinois, which again was considered to be one of the earliest UFO cults. So the group teaches that the mighty I Am presence is God existing in each person's higher self, and that the light known as the violet flame is generated by the I Am presence. All you got to do is sit back and let Saint Germain come and save you. Right? The Ascended Masters are here to reconstitute the United States and overthrow the government. Do nothing. Just sit back. Saint Germain's got this. He's going to take out the banking families and bring in the gold standard, right, and shepherd in this golden age of humanity. Jesus and Saint Germain and a bunch of made-up ascended masters that the I Am UFO cult in the 30s created. And if you guys are interested in learning more about the I Am cult, check out the previous episode on UFO Doomsday Cults, Part 8. Welcome everyone in the chat. How's everyone rocking today? You guys ready for this Antrovis cult? This one's a really, really fun one. What the flock? What's going on, Paul? Sorry, can't be in the chat, but listening, I'm picking up my daughter. No problem, Paul. Thanks for being here, brother. Thanks for letting us know that you're here. Paul just had an amazing video premiere today. If you guys are interested, go over to his channel and check out that video that he just premiered at an hour ago. Yeah, an hour ago. So on today's episode of Super Duper Mega UFO Doomsday Cults, we're studying a very little known cult, which is called the Antrovis cult, which was a UFO cult that would be formed in Central Europe in 1990. Antrovis would later be linked with 2 disappearances and the mutilated dead body of a teacher. But because of how little information is available and is out there on this cult, the research and the pictures that I could find are very sparse. But it starts here with this guy named Edward Mulnik. He was born in Poland in 1941 and worked as a stoker for diesel boilers before getting into hypnosis, which hypnosis plays a big role in this whole thing. And he also studied bioenergy, healing work, and other new age concepts and ideas. But really, we have no other information on Edward's past other than that there's not much known about where he got his ideologies or where it began or where his beliefs actually came from. But just like the rest of the cults we've covered so far, Edward's cult here The Antrovis cult started out as a New Age movement endorsing meditation and visualization and thinking yourself out of bad circumstances that you're in. No action required, just positive thought, right? Exactly like the I Am cult from the 30s with Guy and the ballad here. Just positive action, positive thought, right? But the cult ended up turning into something different as the years went on, mixing in ufology, Masonic practices, and Christianity, which sounds a lot like a cult burrito to me, guys. That sounds like an amazing cult burrito. Are you hungry for the truth? Make yourself a cult burrito. Study every single New Age theory out there. Alternative religion, ancient astronaut theory, extraterrestrial hypothesis that you can possibly get your hands on. Go to New Age centers, visit your local crystal shops, meet with spiritual gurus. Compile all of their ideologies, mix it into your own version of Christianity. Make yourself a cult burrito. The only way to feed yourself the truth. Them cult burritos are so good. It looks so yummy. I need myself a cult burrito. So like all the other cults, this one is no different, with having their members have strict devotion, cut off family members, friends, and even cut off body parts. This one gets extreme. How do you think those UFOs get their energy sources, right? You think it's free energy? Johnny, cut off your balls so we can power up this UFO and go to another planet. No joke. They literally believed that they needed to sacrifice their body parts to these extraterrestrials to power their UFOs. And they worship these extraterrestrials. The UFOs literally were powered by the cult members' body parts. So, in 1983, Edward here claimed that the Virgin Mary visited him and urged him to save the world from impending doom with the help of extraterrestrial intervention. And Mother Mary initiated Edward here to contact this being named Antrovis. And that him, together with this cult and this extraterrestrial being named Antrovis, would save the world. Come on, Antrovis, save the world. Maybe the world will finally be saved with the Antrovis extraterrestrial, unlike everyone else that's failed to save the world in the past. Right? We're going to find out. So Edward here began his teachings on a relatively small scale to a select few, but in the late 80s, his teachings and activities have spread throughout Poland, with him hosting teachings all around Europe. And many of Edward's earlier followers were involved in pseudosciences and theosophical principles. Right? So on June 12th, 1990, Edward here officially registered the Antrovis Association International Center for the Renewal of the People of Earth. Holy Lord Jesus. That is a long-ass title. The Antrovis Association International Center for the Renewal of the People of Earth. And Earth, sorry. Right? But they just shortened it and called it Antrovis, which is way better. And the Antrovis movement had activities and members expanding as far as Poland, Germany, and the Netherlands, with their first ideas of relaxation and meditation and self-hypnosis and balancing the energies of the body with these easy practices and a wide variety of techniques. Really gave Edward here and the Antrovis cults wide appeal, right, with hundreds of people attending his lectures. So the ideology of the cult soon changed because the New Age stuff, the self-help, relaxation, and self-hypnosis techniques just weren't working anymore, right? And that means you got to do a switcheroo. Hit them with a switcheroo. Are your cult members not following orders? Are they starting to have a mind of their own? Hit them with the switcheroo. Tell them that higher beings have a new mission for them. Tell them that they are the incarnation of famous historical figures. Tell them about the new revelations that only you know about, given directly to you from the higher beings. Tell them anything but the truth. Hit them with the switcheroo. The famous switcheroo. Hit them with the switcheroo. How's it going, King James? Good to see you, brother. Fireflies in the lighthouse. Gotta let those body parts relax first. That's right. Gotta let them relax for those extraterrestrials. Hound Dog, good to see you, brother. Hound Dog sent a $6 super sticker. Thanks so much for your kindness and generosity and support of the show. Hound Dog, appreciate you a lot, brother. Haha, Scotty Boy, love the inputs. Yeah, those bumpers are golden. King James, keep the faith. Yes, sir. So, what better way to bring new ideas into your cult than to lean on previously established ideas of the UFO subculture? So, he just packaged up the New Age movement, Masonic principles, Christianity, and ufology into an amazing cult burrito, right? And here's some of Antrovis's ideologies and belief systems. Antrovis stated that millions or billions, depends on who you talk to, of years ago, 2 extraterrestrial spaceships landed on Earth, one from the planet called Atlantia, sounds like Atlantis, right? And where people believed to be the chosen people, these Atlanteas from the planet Atlantia were believed to be the chosen people and the guardians of Earth, which were known as the Salve people, who landed on the Sleeza Mountain, being known as the greatest and with the purest blood, as they had the ability to predict the behavior and the physical forms of the physical forms that were on Earth before they landed on Earth, right? And another extraterrestrial race landed in another spaceship on Earth called the Hebrews, that came, get this, from the planet Hebrea, which landed 200 miles east in Poland's Masovia region. And they were the guardians of free will, and that all human beings had come from these 2 extraterrestrial races, us being the extraterrestrial hybrid of these 2 races, the Salve and the Hebrews. This guy, Edward, is not very creative with his mythology, is he? Right? The Hebrews came from the planet called Hebrea. Come on, Edward. Come on, bro.
Jesus Christ.
But it's really exactly what people do today, though it's no different. With the Pleiadians, the Pleiadian extraterrestrials coming from Pleiades star system, the Andromedans coming from the Andromeda star system, Zeta Gray extraterrestrials coming from Zeta Reticuli star system. It's the exact same thing. But this is just the beginning of the beliefs and ideologies of this cult, of this Antrovis cult led by Edward Muelnick here. And again, just like all of the other UFO cults that we've covered so far, the Antrovis cult has to give its interpretation of the Bible. And they claimed that Jesus didn't get crucified, but instead became a pilot of a spacecraft in order to save his followers from doom and destruction of the earth. Did this Edward guy, I guarantee you this Edward guy knew about Van Tassel here from the Ashtar Command cult. I'm pretty sure he did. He had to have, because that's exactly what the Ashtar Command cult claims as well. That Jesus is Ashtar zooming around on a spacecraft in outer space, waiting to pick up 144,000 people to rapture them up into heaven. Interdimensional time traveling cowboy, reptilian ass kicking space Jesus here to save the day. Right? Edward literally ripped that directly from Van Tassel's channelings in the early 50s. So the followers of Antrovis were told that they were living in the last days. More specifically, the final act of the human story on Earth. They believed that the world would soon dematerialize and a great catastrophe would happen, with a fantastical prediction that a huge natural disaster would occur on May 15th, 1992, when the planet would begin to phase out and dematerialize with war and famine, and the planet would just phase out of existence, with the majority of the people just disappearing. Look, are you even a cult leader if you don't have a fantastical prediction that doesn't come true? A doomsday apocalyptic event? I don't believe you can be, right? You got to have fear porn in there, which seems a lot like what the truther in the conspiracy community does on a regular basis. Fear porn. There's always some kind of threat that you need to prepare for, right? And so far, we've had the cult of I Am, the guy in Edna Ballard here, in the 30s, saying that the next 70 years, the Ascended Masters were going to take over the government and install a new government into a golden age. That didn't happen. Then we have the Seekers UFO cult here claiming that extraterrestrial ships were going to land on December 21st, 1954, and rapture everyone up before a huge natural disaster. That didn't happen. We had the Ashtar Galactic Command, which made many predictions of catastrophes and raptures by UFOs that didn't happen. We also have the Heaven's Gate cult with Marshall Applewhite that predicted that UFOs were going to land at any time and rapture up the followers into the next evolutionary level above human, that they'd be physically transformed into an extraterrestrial. That didn't happen. We had the Love is One cult that basically stated the exact same thing, that Amy Carlson here was the reincarnation of God, and that she was going to rapture up and ascend the 144,000 people into the portal of the sun. And then we have the Unarius Academy cult that said in 2001, 33 extraterrestrial ships were going to land in California. That never happened. There's so many examples of this that we've covered so far in this series. It's wild. And Edward here, the leader of the Antrovis cult, is no different. he said that during this time of the apocalypse, according to Edward, the apocalypse is going to happen on May 15th, 1992. With 144,000 will be raptured up into an extraterrestrial spacecraft, piloted by none other than interdimensional time-traveling, reptilian ass-kicking space Jesus himself. I'm totally convinced that he knew about the Ashtar command and Van Tassel here, because that is the exact same thing that Van Tassel, that's the same story, just decades earlier in the 50s. But instead of it being Jesus or Ashtar here, Edward claimed it was going to be an extraterrestrial being called Antrovis. Ashtar, Antrovis, Jesus, same stuff, same story. But in Edward's version of the story, it's Antrovis, which is going to rapture them all up into a spacecraft and take them to another planet called Nova, where they'd use anti-aging technology to regress them back to a younger state. Wow, that's really interesting. Sounds like the secret space program and the super soldier tech to me right there. But along with the doomsday and end of the world rhetoric, the cult also used another form of fear to keep their followers on the hook. How's everyone in the chat? That's right, Mad Beds, Jim. Maggie, yes, I covered the aliens in, I think, UFO Doomsday Cult episode part 3, I believe. We covered them 4 or 5 weeks back. You can check that out. I made a playlist on my channel. Just go to playlist, go to my main channel, go over to playlist, and there will be all the episodes of the UFO Doomsday Cult series. Hound Dog, but I can draw a kindergarten-like cartoon of the event. Haha. Yes. What kind of cult leader can't keep track of his members? That's right. Yeah, so we're going to keep going on this cult because this one gets really interesting and really funny. Right, so they use another form of fear to keep their followers on the hook, which, just like all of the UFO cults that we've covered so far, you have to have an enemy. You have to have an opposing force, right? Which this Antrovis cult used the opposing force as the gray extraterrestrials. And the followers were told that the grays were always watching them and that they were waiting in the clouds to land their UFOs in the middle of the night and kidnap them. They were also told that the Greys' UFOs were powered by human organs, hearts, lungs, kidneys, but especially the male reproductive system, the genitals. Don't be caught slacking now, guys, because the Greys will catch you, abduct you, and rip your balls directly off and use it to power their UFOs. Classic. Watch it now. Don't mess with those gray aliens, man. Though these gray aliens would stalk the chosen ones to harvest their balls and other organs, but they specifically put an emphasis on the balls to power their ships. Nothing like getting the genitalia of the chosen ones to power the extraterrestrial spaceships. Blast off into hyperspace, right? We need the perfect male genitalia. It's, when I was doing the research on this, I just laughed for so long. The evil gray extraterrestrials need to abduct human beings for their balls to power their UFO spaceships. The gray extraterrestrial spaceships run off of the balls and testicles, the genitalia of human beings of Earth. Which this is going to really come into play a little bit later on. So these beliefs of the evil gray extraterrestrials were taught to the followers and spoken about in lectures, and was even given hypnotically. It was hypnotically programmed into the followers, which he studied. Edward here studied hypnotism. So he was hypnotically putting these beliefs of these ball-stealing gray extraterrestrials into the heads, these ball-snatching gray extraterrestrials, evil extraterrestrials, into the heads of the Antrovis cult followers, which just installed a whole thing of paranoia and schizophrenia into certain individuals, into certain followers of the cult. So the Antrovis cult really grew their following through lectures and speaking events, which were free to attend and would run for at least 4 hours. The lectures were marketed as the method of enlightening individuals to become positive and empowered using meditation techniques and universal unity ideas, which sounds a lot like universal law that we hear a lot about today. The lectures were promoted by brochures and pamphlets that were handed out during the universities, a lot like the Heaven's Gate cult. They would hand out those pamphlets for their gatherings too, where people were prompted to take energy healing courses and breathing practices from the Antrovis cult. And those courses became the initiation into the inner circle of the cult. The initiation involved first, second, and third degree courses, which that's where the Masonic influence of this cult comes from. It's reported that they'd use dowsing rods to pick if the people in the courses had the right vibration to be accepted into the cult by Edward and his commanders. And the commanders served as gatekeepers to the next level of initiation. You got to bust through those gatekeepers if you want to get to the next level, all right? You got to rub shoulders with those gatekeepers if you want to do well for yourself. You got to stroke. Got to stroke those gatekeepers if you want to succeed in this space. Which is interesting because he would only use those dowsing rods and pick people that were females. Any males, it was just an excuse to not have a sausage fest in this cult. That's what it was. These commanders would choose who progressed and who didn't, right? In amazing gatekeeping fashion. It's been said that, again, that Edward and his commanders would use this for sexual gratification, which he would only target young female followers for this initiation process, which is weird because Edward here always preached abstinence to his followers, but not for himself. No. Everyone else has to be abstinent in the cult besides Edward here and his commanders. Edward and his commanders can do whatever they want, but no sex for the followers. Before I go any further, check the chat here. How's everyone doing? Firefly sitting on old balls is lots of fun, let me tell you. Kenneth, how's it going, my friend? One Eye Gate. Paul from Newcastle, how's it going, brother? Good to see you. King James. Be balls on a string. That's right. Watch out. Those extraterrestrials, those ball snatching extraterrestrials will come and get you. It's okay. We got a lot of ball talk going on around here. Fireflies, do you moderate for any other channels? I'll make you a moderator if you want to be a moderator over here, but don't stop watching my videos because almost every single time I make someone a moderator for my channel, they stop showing up. So I haven't made any new moderators in a really long time. I'm going to check YouTube here really quick to make sure this video hasn't been demonetized yet. They've been doing that recently to me a lot. Nope, still good. GG, how's it going? Okay, so get this. Edward here of the Antrovis cult. This is amazing. Edward claimed that everyone that was born after 1983 were androids, and that reproducing should be avoided because you'll have an android cyborg baby. And he encouraged women to terminate their pregnancies, not have children, and he encouraged men to get castrated, which is exactly the Heaven's Gate cult all over again, just years prior. It's the exact same thing that Marshall Applewhite said to his followers. Marshall Applewhite and 5 of his followers got chemically castrated, which would get rid of their urges and speed up their ascension on planet Earth and power up the extraterrestrial ships with the castrations. The Antrovis cult believed. Not only do we have the evil gray extraterrestrials hunting us down and cutting off our testicles to power the ships, but Edward here also said that the good extraterrestrials also need our balls as well. But we have to freely give our balls to the good extraterrestrials. Oh my gosh. This cracks me up. The evil ones are here to take. The evil gray extraterrestrials are here to take our balls. But the good extraterrestrials, we have to give our balls to. I can't get over this. It's so funny. Either way, basically, everyone's screwed. Either way, your balls are going to be taken. Okay? Whether you give them up freely or not, doesn't matter. They're going to be taken. They're either going to be taken by the intergalactic ball snatchers, or you're going to have to freely give them up to the good extraterrestrials. Oh my God. It's a hoot. I can't make this stuff up. Can't make it up. It's real. It's legit. Edward taught his followers that they're evil, gray alien ball snatchers running around the universe, abducting people and chopping off their balls to fuel their extraterrestrial UFO spacecraft. And the good extraterrestrials also use balls, testicles to fuel their spacecraft as well. So you're screwed either way. Either way you go, you're either freely giving them up or they're going to be taken. Oh my God. It's ridiculous. Scotty boy. I've been offering up my balls freely for years. Oddly, very few takers. Oh, Crystal. I was just going to say that we cannot make this stuff up. Goodness, yep. Disco balls. How far does one balls take you, Kenneth? I don't know. It might take you pretty far. I don't know how many people the great evil gray extraterrestrials have been abducting and taking their balls. Apparently, pretty far. Apparently, a few balls will at least put a half a tank in the intergalactic spaceships. Yes, my balls are intact. I have intact balls. Oh, I love you guys. It's classic. So eventually, these ideas were presented outside of the organization as the cult published cassette tapes and books. And the tapes were mostly guided meditation and self hypnosis, marketing to the same people that would attend their lectures. But the books were different and way more esoteric, which was labeled a cosmic critic of religion, called the Antrovis Library Series, and could be found in bookstores as recent as 2002. And what the books were about should sound very familiar to you. Was that advanced extraterrestrials had deceived mankind into believing that they were gods. This deception then alienated man from himself, making him worship and praise something outside of himself. Just like Eric von Daniken, his ancient astronaut theory said back in the 60s, and Rael from the Raelian cult said in 1974 that the Elohim deceived humanity into believing that they were gods as well, when they were really just extraterrestrials. And just as many talk about in the community today, right? But according to the Antrovis cult, prayer and the practice of religion was a form of energy harvesting and slavery to the extraterrestrials that had fooled humanity into believing that they were gods. And hey, I agree with some of that. Religion does seem like a form of slavery, right? I'm actually having Wayne Steiger on Saturday to talk about the cult of religion. That'll be at 2 p.m. EST on Saturday. So make sure that bell icon is ringing. Make sure it's ringing off the hook, because you don't want to miss that discussion with Wayne on Saturday at 2 p.m. EST. But they also believed that the Antrovis cult also believed that the worship of these extraterrestrials that had been mistaken for gods were a transfer of energy and power from mankind to be siphoned off of from these extraterrestrials. The basis for these thoughts can be found in a trilogy of books by the Antrovis cult called the Anti-Triptych, written by Edward and his two highest commanders, Ava Homa and Ava Dabrowski. Ava Dabrowski wrote the first book of the trilogy called God's Fate for Man. Edward wrote the second book of the trilogy, which was called The End of God and the Beginning of Man. And Ava wrote There Is No God. And these books started to circulate, and the attendance of their lectures and the attendance of the cult really started to dwindle. And Antrovis stopped recruitment altogether, with the count of the cult being roughly between 26 to 42 followers. But however, these people were very loyal to the cult. With an MP in the government named Barbara Labruda confessed to having involvement. Others involved in politics, journalism, entertainment also had some form of involvement in the cult. But like most of the cult, they mostly preyed upon the weak and vulnerable, right? Recruiting many teenagers into the cult, mostly women, and to the behest of the members' parents, which started alarming them once Antrovis started causing its members physical harm. Once they started telling them to chop their balls off to power the good extraterrestrial ships, started getting alarming, right? Along with, they would also tell them to cut off other body parts. It wasn't just the balls, but the testicles being the best choice. The best fuel for the extraterrestrial ships is the testicles. Along with also encouraging other forms of self-mutilation and refusing them medical treatment. The followers of the cult refusing them medical treatment after they mutilated themselves. Things would then become more sinister a year after the supposed apocalypse, which was delayed to 94 because it didn't happen, and then was delayed again to 99, which began to cause the public to become more uneasy and skeptical toward the Antrovis cult. So this brings us, hold on, I gotta find the picture of this gentleman. This brings us to 18-year-old Antrovis. Sorry, these names are in Poland. Chukalek. Antrovis Chukalek, which lived in Wrocław, Poland. There's a picture of him right here. He had an heavy interest in ufology and spiritualism and the paranormal, that's what all these cults do. They exploit and take advantage of people that already have an interest in these topics. Antrovis he discovered the Antrovis cult in the early 90s via magazines and began starting to take an active part in the organization. But what he did exactly is really unknown. Initially, his parents disregarded his interest in Antrovis, dismissing it as a club and just an exchange of ideas and views and rhetoric, right? But soon, drastic changes in his behavior began to occur. He broke off contact with his friends, began isolating himself from his family. He would stop going to school. He would stop studying. He would lock himself in his room and meditate for hours. And he was reportedly trying to cleanse himself. He would warn his family against poison food and sit motionless for hours, staring at photographs of the and drawings of the evil gray extraterrestrials, which here's some drawings of them. Looking a little wonky there. Got a little tall gray over here, some short grays with a wonky head. This one's got a spike on him. And his parents quickly realized that he was suffering from severe paranoia and mental exhaustion, right? And this was from the programming of the Antrovis cult through hypnotic regression and being hypnotized by these beliefs in these evil ball-snatching intergalactic gray extraterrestrials. Dang those freaking ball-snatching evil gray extraterrestrials. Right? And when May 15th, 1992, the date that the Earth was supposed to dematerialize and 144,000 people were to ascend, when that date came and went, this 18-year-old kid his mental state was really beginning to diminish. And once he left the group, he started refusing to take his hat off while at home. He only ate mandarin oranges. According to his parents, he always acted as if he was waiting for someone or waiting for something. He began to suffer from insomnia and was constantly on the verge of physical exhaustion, right? And complained of stomach pains, expressed fear that someone was after him, and was overall in very bad shape. He was in fear of his life from those evil ball-snatching gray extraterrestrials. That was programmed into his mind by Edward of the Antrovis cult. Here's some more pictures of these evil gray ball-snatching extraterrestrials. Amazing drawings here. Right. So, on March 1st, this young kid gathered up all of his textbooks and headed to school. Headed out for school, but he never showed up. There was an investigation and a search effort launched, but no trace of him was ever found, and he remains missing to this very day. Gray ball snatching extraterrestrials might have came and picked him up. But other than that, there was another 16-year-old boy with ties to the Antrovis cult, which would also go missing in August of that same year. But there's literally zero information on him. Nothing really exists. And the disappearance couldn't have been conclusively linked to the cult by the authorities. So in 1993, Antrovis Oh yeah, here's a picture of the ball snatching gray extraterrestrial vehicles that are powered by the balls of human beings on Earth. Looks like it would be powered by some balls. Got to make that jump into hyperspace and need some balls. So in 1993, Antrovis apparently disbanded, with Edward claiming that this was done voluntarily because their mission was complete, which they apparently rented some cabins in Poland, and they went up there with all of their followers and meditated for days and days and days and days, and left behind a bunch of symbolic stuff. And the people that came to like check on them were very scared and afraid of their what they had left behind, like weird notes and um, altars and a bunch of weird stuff. But after the disbandment, some of the Poland authorities didn't believe that they had disbanded. And 2 years later, an event would happen that in which many considered to be the final straw that created a huge wave of anti-Trovis and anti-cult hysteria across Poland. So they apparently disbanded, but they really didn't. They just said that they disbanded because the Poland authorities were onto them, and some have said that they kind of forced them to do like a little fake breakup there. But in April of 1995, a mutilated male body would be retrieved from the Odra River, and upon examination, the death was quickly ruled a homicide, as this gentleman had suffered numerous blows to the head, and his testicles were removed, which the coroner stated was done with surgical precision. The body was identified as that of Bogus Law T. Bogus Law was a PE teacher living abroad who moved from Poland to Germany with his wife in 1987. With him learning of and becoming associated with Antrovis, it stated that soon after his involvement with Antrovis, he was mentally shattered, having a headache and telling his wife that he had a headache and repeating to her, "Save me." And he once revealed that he started feeling worse after undergoing hypnosis by the Antrovis cult, and was taken to a psychiatrist who ordered him to break off contact with Antrovis. And on a previous occasion, when he underwent surgery, he was also terrified that his healthy organs would be cut off. He returned to Poland to visit his relatives on February 21st, 1995, and he went missing the next day on February the 22nd of 1995. His father checked all the stations with the train where he was supposed to gone from Warsaw to where he was supposed to stop. But Bogus Law never got off any of them. His father called the police, later visited 5 psychotherapists, all of them which said that Bogus Law was alive, and another saying that due to being that he was a member of a religious sect and that they should all pray for him. And then he even went to a soothsayer. Bogus Law's dad went to a soothsayer and said that he was in a sect and that he was mutilated himself. After his body was found, 2 surgeons who were members of the Antrovis cult were interrogated, but due to the precision applied when cutting off Bogus Law's testicles, they were interrogated, but the interrogation didn't lead to anywhere, and the 2 members of the cult were then released. This cult talking about extraterrestrials, ball snatching people, and that the good extraterrestrials want you to cut off your own balls so that they can fuel their ships as well. We don't know. It's up in the air whether it was the evil gray extraterrestrial ball snatchers or if it was the cult themselves convincing their members to cut off their testicles to fuel the extraterrestrial ships. Right. The investigation into Bogus Law's murder was discontinued in '96 after they were unable to link the group to his death, and Antrovis then disbanded for the final time sometime around '96, between '96 and '98. A few years before the final doomsday prediction in '99. What a shame. What a shame that they could not live to see the, well, not live, they're probably still around, but they couldn't take the backlash from their pushed back doomsday date, right? Probably couldn't handle it. All the other failed predictions of 92 and 94. So despite the disbandment, many people believe that Antrovis still exists, only underground. In 2006, a politician and a chairman of the National Committee for Defense Against Sex published a report on religious sects and cults operating in Poland, where he included Antrovis. But the report was heavily criticized, and due to the lack of activity from Antrovis in over 10 years at that point. And also the report included the Branch Davidians from Waco and the movement for the restoration of the 10 Commandments of God, both of which never had a presence in Poland. The last update about Antrovis comes from October 27th, 2018, where it was alleged that some members maintained a blog and that the group, after the controversies during the 90s, had then corrected themselves and mostly remained restricted to a small group, preferring to keep to themselves and refusing to talk to the media or recruit new members. The two disappearances and Bogus Law's murder both remain officially unsolved, and the files on Bogus Law's case were destroyed for unknown reasons in 2009. And as for Edward, the leader of this amazing UFO Doomsday ball snatching cult, it's unknown what he did after Antrovis disbanded for the final time, or if he's even still alive, with the last mention of him being when he denied ever meeting Bogus Law. And if he is still alive today, he would roughly be around 80 to 81 years old. So that wraps up our Doomsday Cult episode part 9 on the Antrovis cult. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Fireflies in the lighthouse. This is the leader got sacked. Ha ha, yes. Got sacked real quick. Got to watch out for them ball snatching interdimensional extraterrestrial ships, guys. We should be wearing protective gear for our balls. You got to protect them balls. Hound Dog, thank you, Ryder. Thanks so much for being here, brother. Sam, complete bollocks, Ryder. Nice one. Bollocks is right. Antrovis sounds like anchovies, smells fishy, like a red herring. The kid was mentally ill. Yes, he was mentally ill, but I think it had something to do with this cult. I mean, the dude was a hypnotist and studied that sort of thing, so it's not out of the realm of possibility that he could literally be programming the thoughts and the ideas into these cult followers' heads. Robert V, good to see you, brother. Hello, everyone. Running late, working today. Awesome, Ryder. Thank you, brother. Thanks for being here, Scotty boy. Paul Joe, interesting. Thank you, Ryder. Yes. Be on the lookout for those ball snatching, evil gray having extraterrestrials. Don't want to be caught up in their line of fire. Yes, Hound Dog. Yes, buy me a coffee links and PayPal links are in the description of this video. Please check that out. Sam, take care out there. Stay loyal to the foil, folks. That's right. Keep an eye out for rogue balls. You don't want to be caught slipping with these gray extraterrestrials. Gray extraterrestrials, ball snatching, looking ass, grays. They'll get you. But you're actually screwed either way because the good extraterrestrials also require balls to power their ships as well. So you either donate your balls to the good extraterrestrials to power their UFO ships, or you get your balls taken. All right, guys, I will be back on Saturday with Wayne Steiger at 2 p.m. EST, and then Tuesday with Dr. Joseph Farrell. So, yeah, please hit the like, please hit the thumbs up button, help the channel in the algorithm, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon as well. And thanks for everyone for being here. Donation links are in the description of this video. If you can spare to donate and help support the show, I really appreciate it. Fireflies in the Lighthouse. Thanks for being here, guys. Thanks, Scotty boy. Thanks, Scott. Thanks, Sam. Thanks, King James. Thanks, Paul Joe. I'll see you guys on Saturday with Wayne Steiger at 2 p.m. EST. Get your bells are ringing. Make sure to hit that bell icon. I'll see you guys on Saturday. Peace.